In this world, the legendary hero had sealed the gate of hell 3 years ago, but now it was suddenly opened, allowing demons to attack humanity. But then the legendary hero died in the gayest way possible, by falling into a trap set by a level 1 farmer named Tuka. So what will happen to this world now that the hero has died in such a gayest way possible? Let's find out. The anime begins in the countryside, where our protagonist Tuka Scott pulls out his radish from his farm and slides up stockings to it. But then his childhood friend Yuna comes in to taunt him for being a low-life degenerate for thinking reddish as girls' thighs. She tells him to be like the legendary hero who saved the world. But he doesn't care as long as he and his little farm are safe. But their Tuka takes the chance and slides the stocking to her thighs, for which he receives a hard kick. Then Tuka reveals his ultimate trap to save himself from a devil attack, and Yuna leaves because he's just a waste of a human being. But then a devil attacks the village, and Yuna gets in danger, so to save Yuna Tuka grills a nice piece of meat to attract the devil. But Yuna wonders why this useless guy is cooking meat while she's in danger, and the devil likes fresh human flesh, so he ignores the grilled meat and goes after Yuna, leaving Tuka with no choice but to fight him for real. But the hero named Shan arrives and saved Yuna from that devil. Then Shan talks with Yuna as he remembered that he had saved her once before. And seeing them, Tuka becomes jealous, so he tries to join in. But that expression told Tuka to get lost, you degenerate. Then Shan was hungry and smelled that meat, so as he arrives to have a bite. But Shan falls into that trap Tuka had set for the devil and dies. Such a gayest way of death for a legendary hero. So the villagers were considering handing over Tuka to the kingdom for the sin of hero's murder, but if they do, the entire village will be dragged into it because no one would believe that the legendary hero died such a nonsense death. So Tuka and the villagers buried him in a nearby cemetery. And Tuka thought everything was back to normal, but the next morning he was inside that hero's body, and Tuka freaked out and went to Yuna with this problem, and Yuna was a big fan of Hero. So she mistook it for the real Shan, but the way he smelled made Yuna suspicious, so Tuka tells her little secret, revealing her that she fantasized of becoming a magic girl. So that confirms he's the real Tuka, and there comes the reason behind Tuka's body exchange with Hero. She was also about to die in that gayest way, but Tuka pulled her back. Her name is Anri, and she is a necromancer, and she was Shan's party member. She made a promise to save the world, but now Shan has died, so to fulfill her promise, she shifted Tuka into Shan's body. Because she believes Tuka is an overpowered guy with the power to kill even a legendary hero, but she didn't realize it was just a damn fluke. So Anri wants Tuka to step up as a hero to save the world, and Yuna was all down for it to start a new adventure because of her hero complex. But Tuka denied it, and Anri threatened him that she would destroy his real body that she had sealed in her coffin locket. So now they traveled to the city of Belen, and there Yuna saw a nice magic wand, but the price was out of roof for 10 million. So Tuka sent both girls out, and after a few minutes he comes out of shop with that wand. They were outright poor because the king didn't even give them allowance for their journey. However, Anri is a background supporter in Hero's party because if word gets out that she is a necromancer, she could be executed, so from then on where they need money Tuka used Shan's body. Then there comes a guy who seems to know Shan and challenges him to a spar, so Tuka thought he could get his power from Shan's body. But that holy sword of his showed him that wasn't going to happen, so that man labeled Tuka as the fake hero. Then aside from him, while Anri and Yuna were at the guild looking for a job for a good pay, but there they ran into an old friend of theirs, Kyle Osment, who is a party member of Shan and wants to meet with him, but Anri informs him that he is dead. And on the other side the townsfolk have tied up Tuka for impersonating Shan, and Kyle comes in and saves Tuka. He tells him to pour his mana into the sword, but his mana was so weak that the sword turns flexible rubber. So to get out of this mess Yuna gets up to offer up a challenge that in their next quest Tuka will prove himself by killing most of the devil. They got out of that mess at least. And Tuka is wondering why the hell his eyeballs are coming out so frequently. So the reason is that Tuka has a miserable amount of mana, and as a result his body is rotting away, and one day he will be a pile of bones walking around like a real undead. So Kyle suggests to them that he is interested in possessing Shan's body, but Anri does not trust him, so he considers taking it by force, but for the time being, he pretends to be joking. And he promises them that he will fight alongside them in this quest, but Tuka knew he was faking it. So he sneaks up in Anri's room to steal his real body. But he gets distracted and slides up Yuna's thigh with stocking, but then Tuka hides away because Kyle comes in to kill Tuka, but Anri had cast a protection spell on her, so he flees. Anri and Yuna awoke thinking Kyle had barged in, but looking at her legs, she thought Tuka was the one messing around. Then, on the day of their quest, there were many others who went on the same quest as them, and their Tuka wanted to keep Anri close for his own sake, but as they arrived at the Devil's Den, Belarco gave an idea to split up but was defeated in an instant by a speed devil. However, Kyle demonstrated his light dagger, which operated at his command, and after killing the devil, he showed that their heart is actually made of magic crystal, and that by using the incantation engraved on the crystal, they can use the same power that the devil used. But then a horde of devils appeared, and our party dashed inside the broken castle, only to find even more devils, so Anri used her undead spell in bones and they became useful. But then a perverted devil melted down Yuna's clothes, so she ran away, so Tuka follows her only to be beaten up by her. But he had a backup plan for this situation and gave her a really short bikini that he brought for her. But then that naked freak devil shows up again and tells Tuka that he wants to see a naked girl in Stoking, and Tuka's dream was same, that is to see that heavenly stocking. So Yuna beats both of them up, but then Kyle knocked Yuna out to finally show his true intention to kill Tuka for Cyan's body. Tuka tells him that he knew what he tried to do last night and tries to use his sword, but Kyle's light dagger cuts him down like a paper, leaving Tuka vulnerable. He was burned with jealousy when Shaun was chosen instead of him, so he planned to take his place for a long time by now, and now this will be his chance. He cornered Tuka to kill him. But then Anri came in with that cloth ripper and melted down Kyle's cloths, and Kyle revealed that Anri is not a human, but has a crystal heart like those devils, making her a devil in disguise. So he was about to kill all of them, but they managed to escape. Then meanwhile, Anri revealed that she is a descendant of those who were locked behind the gate. So their bodies adapted to the hellish environment, making them half-devils, and 3 years ago they managed to escape but were quickly executed, but then Shaun saved her. And now she offers her life if Tuka wanted it, but there's no way Tuka wants to kill a girl who has the potential to become a gorgeous lady with awesome thighs. So Anri bought it and promised to meet Tuka's expectations. Then they fled to the castle's bridge and trapped him with the wimp sword. So Tuka and his team received a large amount of money as a reward, which was taken away by the debt collector. But after that, Tuka had officially become a pile of bones due to his depleted mana, so he wanted to replenish Shaun mana by temporarily exchanging bodies with Anri, but if he does that, there is a high chance that it will turn him into a decay, which Tuka cannot take. But meeting with the king is also important for money, so he used some wild grapes to make a mask. And with it he met the king, who was waiting for Shaun so that he could marry Princess Marguerite, and if he said no, only hell awaits him, so he goes with the flow and approaches the princess. But she immediately turns away when she sees his face, so Tuka reveals to her that he is currently under a curse that has turned him into a pile of bones, which Marguerite bought and asked Tuka no actually Shaun to marry her because she has fallen deeply in love, and before that, she wants to go on a date for the upcoming city-wide masquerade. So Tuka goes with the flow to add a new member to his harem. Then she goes through her stuff and finds a perfect mask. Then she leaves to have some paint job on it and Tuka saw some nice stuff to eat so he helped himself. Then Marguerite returns with the mask and does a number on it. But she tells Tuka to look away because she's a glutton, but right after eating she becomes a bone herself, so her teacher brings her some regeneration potion. Because Princess has a mana fusion problem, in other words she needs to eat food like a foodie to replenish her mana, and once she gets enough of the food she transforms into a giant balloon. But that balloon state only lasts for a short time before she returns to her regular form, so Marguerite showed him the guest room and left to consult with her doctor for her disease. And Tuka was exhausted but decided to look at the girl's side. But a while ago, while Anri and Yuna were walking down the street, Anri stumbled on some dudes and her helmet flew off. A man helped her and even invited them to his house. Despite knowing the fact that Anri is a necromancer, his name is Leland, and he works as a doctor in an orphanage. Leland does believe that Anri is willing to take such a risk to obtain something inside the capital that is worth risking her life, which is why he assisted them. They told Leland that they want a mana replenishing potion, which doesn't seem to be a problem because he has it, but the prince is 100 million. Which Anri and Yuna will never be able to afford it in their lives, so he tells them he's interested in Anri's body, but she's still a child, so Yuna tries to take her place. But Leland doesn't have that kind of fetish, he's just curious how a necromancer's crystal heart works. Apart from that, Yuna and Anri get to work in that quest they took for devil hunting. But there were several others in it, and the leader of the Night Order was also on the hunt. So Colin and his friend took Yuna and Anri to a secret location where they could hunt down some devil for money, but it was just a trap to get Yuna and Anri. So while Tuka gets to where they were last time, He meets with Leland and Marguerite. Turns out he's the princess's family doctor. And there Leland tells Tuca that both girls are gone on a devil hunt. But they were actually locked up by Leland himself because he had made a deal with the devil to offer up human life in exchange for peace, and the upcoming masquerade is a feast for the devils. Then, on the day of the masquerade, Isaac followed her because he doesn't trust Shaun, so Marguerite slapped him for disrespecting her future husband and ran away with Shaun alone. But now they are in danger because Leland has stepped up for the devil to eat humans, so how will Tuca save all of his girls and others around him? Subscribe to the channel to find out in the next part.